Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Think Big podcast. You're thinking small and you want to be able to reach your goals and you just don't know where to. You came to the right podcast today. Today, you're going to have your special host, myself, Alejandro Alvarez. You have your man, Sam Singh, and we're missing a soldier today, Mr. Marlon. He's on still running around the country and doing amazing things. Other than that, Mr. Sam, how are you today, sir?
Dude, I'm good. I've been sick for the past 2 weeks, and the last 24 hours have been like me feeling alive again. So
Mm,
I've been awake and alive and productive, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to go into today, and talk about in today's specific topic, which is just having an open Q&A with all the
yeah.
questions that we have submitted to us from people beforehand, and also all the questions that we get from the chat. And the reason is I'm entering a new level of problem, right? So just to kind of give everyone kind of a summary with where I'm at currently at, coming up on the 3-year mark here this fall, this Q4 of being in entrepreneurship in real estate. And I'm blessed to say that I now own 2 businesses that do over 7 figures a year in revenue. And that is an amazing blessing. And what I'm starting to realize is when I was in the beginning, right, we always looked at the guys who were doing hundreds of millions and the guys who were doing billions. And, we all wanted to know what Mark Zuckerberg was thinking about when he was at a billion, sure. But I think there's probably, and Alejandro, let me know if you've ever felt this way. I always wanted to hear from Mark Zuckerberg when he just hit his first million,
Yeah.
right? Or he just hit 5 million, or he just hit 10 million. And guys like Alex Hormozi, someone that you and I look up to tremendously. The
Mm-hmm.
dude, he just said it the other day. So right now, at the current pace he's at, he's doing $17 million a month across his portfolio. And I mean, that's astronomical, right? That is insane. And at 34 years old too. Now, I love that,
Think about
but
that
I
really
would have.
quick, Sam.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but think about that really quick, bro. I would say maybe a 90% at least of humans, of people, can't even believe that they can achieve something like that. $17 a month, $17 million a month. At least 90%, like, oh man, yeah, I wish one day. Like you get that more than often.
No,
And
you're, dude,
here we
you're.
are, you and I, you with the long hair. I'm over here working out. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to get to $17 million. How do we do it? We ask these questions every single time, especially when we have conversation. We're talking about how can we get to a position to get to $17 million a month.
Dude, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, though. I think you and I would both, get a lot of value not hearing from Alex Hormozi when he's doing $17 million a month.
Oh
But
yeah.
I would love to have learned from him when he was doing, a million, not even a million a month, when he was building Gym Launch, when he
Mm.
had 120 employees at, 24, 25 years old. And what specific bottlenecks and issues was he running into then? Not being a 9-figure, a multiple nine. Guys, if you didn't know, 17 million per month is over 200 million a year. It's huge. I would have wanted to learn from him, a decade ago when he was barely doing maybe a million a year, 2 million a year. I know I think Gym Launch, when he was still in charge of it, scaled up to about 4.4, like 4.2, 4.4 million a month. Like, I want to learn from that guy, because the problems that he was solving then in the business are so different than what he's solving now, being, at the top of entrepreneurship, truly. So due to that, I've been in a reflection kind of phase. It's like, guys, for anyone that didn't know, I started talking about this publicly for the first time very recently on my friend Stratton's podcast. I just turned 28 a few months back, and at 27 I officially became a millionaire, and at like a legitimate net worth, assets minus liabilities, like not fluffing it, millionaire at 27. And then I became a multi-millionaire at 28. And it's a weird thing, man, because I feel like not much has changed. I feel like a year ago, like, yeah, the business grew, but it's like I still feel like it's the same old me in the same old bedroom, right? But what I'm starting to realize is, holy crap, 2 years ago, when I was 2.5 years ago, when I was getting started, I wanted to hear from the guy who just made his first million or just became a net worth multi-millionaire for the first time. And guys, like, that was me literally, a few months back. I just hit multi-million-dollar net worth. So I think what I want to do now is just kind of be in a reflection period and showcase to everyone what this looks like and answer everyone's questions. Because Alejandro, you know this, I don't do coaching, I don't do mentorship. It's something that I get requested all the time. and I just don't have the time to. And if you guys DM me on Instagram or on Facebook, you guys know I'm extremely horrible at getting back to you. So I decided, it's about time we do an open Q&A to give back to the folks. But before we dive into it, you have anything else you want to hit on, dude?
Bro, congratulations, bro, on hitting that mark. I mean, just for everybody else that's listening, how did it feel, bro, to hit that 7-figure mark, man? Like, what did it do for you?
Such a good question. So it was weird, man. So guys, when I say like millionaire, I think there's a lot of, I want to put this up on an IG story just to see a poll. I think people dilute the word millionaire, and it's not as special as it used to be, or it could be. And I think that there's also a lot of definitions, right? Like, let's define what millionaire means. A lot of people say it's like, oh, you own $1 million worth of assets, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then there's also like, the traditional net worth equals your assets minus your debts and liabilities. And so it's like, if you own $1 million of real estate, but they're all subject to deals that have zero equity, you probably are actually negative $1 million in your net worth, right? That's the reality of it. And so the cool thing is I've always been a stickler for like just being honest about definitions. So for me, I became an actual like net worth millionaire. Funny enough, I found out probably about November is when I found out that I was a millionaire. The funny thing is we hit it 3-4 months prior to that. And so when it happened, it was really kind of interesting. CEO John Hurst says it for Stratton's podcast. That podcast that we did was actually this past week. Go to my YouTube, hit the live button, and you'll see me there this past week with Stratton. And it's a phenomenal interview I did with those guys. And I'll say this, man, becoming a millionaire was interesting because I feel like nothing happened. Like, it happened, and then I found out 3 months later. And then it's kind of like, oh, the surprise was supposed to be the big surprise 3 months past. You kind of like are late to your own party. And then it was really interesting because I was probably a millionaire. Guys, it took me 2.5 years, or almost 2.5 years, to go from basically zero net worth and probably negative because I had student loan debts. Like, I owed like 20 grand in student loans, right? So I went from like negative net worth, and it took me almost 2.5 years to get to a 7-figure net worth, $1 million net worth, right? And then here's what's crazy. I was at $1 million net worth probably for about 4 to 6 months. And then instantly, I didn't jump up to $2 million net worth. I jumped up like probably right now at the time of this, if I do all the calculations and we sell everything that I own, all the everything, I'm probably at about like 2.75 to 3 mil in like actual legitimate net worth. And so what's interesting is this, guys, it took 2.5 years, or almost 2.5 years, to go from 0 to 7 figures, 0 to $1 million. But like literally from $1 million to like 3 mil, it's like 6 months. It's the weirdest thing. And I've realized that businessman and net worth and liquidity, all these things are almost exponential when you just get the system so damn dialed in. You get the processes so damn dialed in. It literally just becomes like time will do the rest, right? In the beginning, you're kind of like trying to force yourself to do business, force yourself to grow your net worth, your income, your all these things. And then if you'll eventually get to a point where you don't focus on the actual revenue, you don't focus on the income, you actually focus on having repeatable processes without you. And then I feel like when the gas, hits the fire. So I'll say this, man, getting to $1 million was not like, there was no gigantic aha, like celebratory moment. I had like a private moment with some loved ones about it. And we were like, cool, like, this is awesome. You've been working your ass off. Like, it's a cool thing. And then the interesting thing is this, it became almost mathematical how to get to 2.5 million. Like, literally, as soon as I realized I was a millionaire, at 7 figures worth over $1 million, then it literally just became like, I know in the next 3 to 4 months, if I keep my ass in line and I keep my head straight, and this, dude, because like this year I've basically disappeared from so many things. One of the reasons why, for anyone that doesn't know, I've been on a travel hiatus. I actually did my last event in February, and then I took 3 to 4 months off from all travel, all speaking, outside of the Think Big podcast and just a few of my own master classes. Like, I have not spoken on any stages. One of the reasons I did that, Alejandro, was really interesting, It was actually to force myself to jump over and become a multimillionaire.
Mm.
Like that was it. Cause like I literally just knew that like if we do this, and this, and we hit this consistent amount of inputs in this amount of time, like the businesses will grow this much. Our value in those businesses will grow this much, and therefore my net worth will grow this much. So I'll say this: it's really cool to be where we're at, and for the businesses to be at $1 million. Here's what I'm also realizing: it's actually really difficult to be in the spot that we're at, because from 0 to $1 million, you're kind of like in this weird survival, like you feel like you're going to get to thriving mode when you're crossing over $500,000 a year in revenue. You think you've got some traction. And then here's what's really interesting. Once you hit $1 million in any business, you will really realize, or $1 million in revenue in a business, you'll actually start to realize, oh crap, like I understand all of the constraints in my business. I understand how to solve almost all of them, right? Because if you get to $1 million a year, guys, I can tell you right now, it actually becomes very easy to like find out what the constraints in your business are and how to grow it. You want to know the biggest hurdle, but at that $1 to $3 million range. It's just that you know how to fix it all. You actually just don't have the capital, depending on your business model, to reinvest all of it into everything to do all the things. So fortunately for me, both my businesses are extremely high profit margins. So like we don't have tons of expenses. And so I have like the money coming in at a really high profit margin. So we have the liquidity to dump back into the business, into new marketing channels, new campaigns, new strategic hires. But it's something that people don't talk about. It's like everyone's like, oh, I want to get to $1 million a year, 7-figure business a year. Guys, trust me, like that problem that you run into is really interesting. And I'm going to get into all the questions right now, but I want to hit this because the CEO, it's a great username for this. Alejandro, you and I know that to grow a business, you need a quality C-suite. You need a CEO, CSO, CFO, CMO, all these things, right? CEO, blah, 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 blah. All these C-suite executive officers. The problem is this, guys. When you're in that 1 to 3 million range, right, in revenue, top line rev, right, unless you have a high profit margin, unless you're like, a normal business that's like 30-40% profit margin, which is like typical, which is like pretty solid actually. In those business models, the problem is this: doing $1 million top line rev and you're at a 40% profit margin, you're only taking in $400K, and you need to hire like a COO or a CEO because you want to remove yourself, or a CFO or a CMO, or all these things to launch all these new campaigns that will get you to 5 million to 10 million. Problem is this: the salary for one of those guys is 150 grand a year. And so it's like, if you only have $1 million business and you want to hire this person, it's 150K, that's 15% of your top line revenue just on one human being. And so very often what you'll find is being in this kind of zone in that 1 to 3 mil range is you as a CEO and as a business owner have to step in a lot to become, to really step in as a C-suite across the board. So it's interesting. In one of my businesses, which is a really high profit margin business, that's like the key to a lot of what I'm going to do in the future. That business, like I'm finding myself wearing tons of hats. Like I am the CEO, I'm the CMO, I'm the CSO. We're going to bring in a fractional CFO. So all these things are unique not breaking points, but bottlenecks in your business that you don't realize because they don't exist when you're 0 to 6 figures. So I hope that answers your question. I know that was a long tangent. I'm so sorry.
That was beautiful, brother. I appreciate you for sharing that. You have the CEO said, he asked me, can we be for real for a second? Wholesaling is one of the industries where you hear about people making 7 figures within 1 to 3 years. Yep. Very true. Very, very. Yeah. I think, Sam, in less than a year, you and I both, we did our first 6 figures in one single month, right?
Yeah. I hit my first 6-figure month in my 4th month of real estate. So it was 121,250. That's top line rev in a month. So which is fantastic. Wholesaling is one of those very unique business models where it's very possible. And I would argue this though, guys, like I want you guys to think big, right? Think bigger than you are thinking. I also I see this, but I also see that there's other business models that are actually a ton easier than wholesale to get to $1 million. Like Alejandro, I think you and I probably both agree that if we had to like start from day one and like we weren't pre-committed to real estate, knowing everything we know, we would probably go start some other business. We take a lot of the knowledge that we have right now, right? But a lot of other businesses that don't have the time involvement that, real estate transactions do and don't have, near the amount of logistical headaches that real estate do. So very interesting, but yeah, absolutely.
What's up, Jade?
Oh, what's up, Jade? I'm actually going to be hanging out with Jade next weekend. Jade and I are going to be, Jade is going to be helping me lend out tons of money. And so she and I are going to go and learn how to scale lending next week in Houston. So it's pretty epic. But let's do this, man. Let's go ahead. And do you have any questions you want to dive into first?
No,
Because I've
sir.
got a
I mean,
ton from all
you
the
got a
people
ton.
who.
I'd love to go over those, man, and see if I have some perspective as well. See what we can do with it.
Okay. Jade's like, buy your plane ticket. Jade, I'm speaking in Phoenix this weekend. So I have to fly out Friday. Like that's this Friday. I still don't have like my flight booked for that or like my stay booked. So that's this week. I'm not, if I can't get this week done, I wouldn't even be thinking about next week. But Jade, you're going to get used to it. I never book my tickets on time. Okay. Guys, so do me a massive favor. Any questions you have today, I really definitely want to just be open and honest and transparent with a lot of things, the realities of things. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. We're like going to go through everything. Jade, welcome to my world. You wanted this. Okay. So I'm going to go through because I was sent a ton of questions on Instagram, and I want to actually go through a few of these that are amazing. And then we'll also hit all the ones that are in the chat as well. Okay. Ooh, guys, there's so many good ones here. Give me 1 sec. There's like so many good questions here. I'm like, oh my God, which one do I choose? Okay, so I'm gonna start basic. Because this is a question that I get a lot, and I actually firmly have gotten to a point where I hate this question. Number one lead source or number one marketing channel, right? We're both gonna give our takes on this. I hate that question. I completely hate it because it changes every 6 months. It changes every 6 months, if not every year. So for me, the number one marketing channel and what are we defining as number one, like what, the cheapest, the most profitable, the highest revenue generator, the biggest ROI, the biggest return on ad spend, your biggest ROAS. It's a lot of unique complicated points there. And then also because a lot of times people are like, well, I want the biggest ROI. Well, the reality is the biggest ROI comes from niche marketing. So you're going after things like niche data, you're going after county data, you're going after extreme hyper niche distress, and you're going to have the lowest cost to all of that. So when you get the inevitable deal flow, you're going to have the highest potency in your ROI. Now, but a lot of people, they don't want to do the work of going into niche marketing. So they want like kind of an easy button, right? And then it's like, okay, cool, launch PPC, but be prepared to spend, 15, 20x what you normally would have, and your ROAS, your return on ad spend, your return on investment, your ROI on your marketing campaign is going to be significantly lower. So it's like, with niche data, you can go with niche data, niche marketing, whether it's like direct mail campaigns, which is very niche direct mail campaigns, and things like single line dial cold call. You can go and, get a 20, 30. I've even had, like, there's been some campaigns where we had a 40x ROI just because the deals were so big and we spent so astronomically little. But then you can also simultaneously not want to do all of the hard work that comes into that. And you just want the easy button. Well, the easy button is going to cost you a lot more in expenses. And guess what? If it costs you a lot more in your expenses, your ROI gets diminished. So you may not have a 30x ROI, you may have an 8x ROI, you may have a 4x ROI. So I hate that question of like, what's your number one marketing channel? What's your number one lead source? All these things, because the answer is it's going to be different for everybody. It's going to be different for everybody. What tools you have in your tool bag, what skill sets you have, your logistical infrastructure in the markets you're in. It's a rigged question, but if I had to say what's my number one deal producer right now, it's going to be direct niche marketing campaign. So we're doing direct mail to the right super niche data points. We're doing single line dial cold call to these same niche data points, and that's strategically what's working the best. It's producing the highest ROI. So that's my answer. Alejandro, what about you?
That's a great answer. You answered that very well. But I'm going to also say, if you're starting out and you want to minimize the risk on your finances, I would say start with cold calling that would be the first thing you should do, and do a very niche list. Like I remember when I first started, people that were already had a wholesale business were pulling 10, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 records a month. And I would be the guy pulling 200 to 500 records a month. And I would cold call those by myself and send them messages. And that would make me $10,000, $20,000 a month by itself. So that's what I would do. But if you have some funds, what I would do is I would go to someone that's more skilled, that has the skills to have to produce the income for your wholesale company, or someone that already has a wholesale company. Partner up with them and tell them, hey, I have some funds. Can you help me get some leads so I can have some side income, or I can start building out my wholesale company? Definitely don't try to figure this out on your own, because you will do mistakes, which is inevitable especially when you're starting out your business. But if you want to minimize that and you want to make money as fast as possible, then go to someone that has the skills for it.
Love it. Okay, so deals on demand. Finding funding to do wholesaling the right way, or grind your way to get the capital, and how to do both. Okay, so great question. I think basically what they're asking is, do I, grind my way to get deals? Takes a longer time. Do I put in a lot of sweat equity to get the deals, then make the money, then have the budget to spend? Or do I go and get business funding? Do I go and get someone else's capital deploy into the business? So the reality is you can do both. I did a hybrid of both. And I'm going to say this, guys, I have to say this, it's a disclaimer. This is what worked for me, and I have a high risk tolerance, right? So it also depends on your risk tolerance and what you want to commit yourself to. So I would say this: if you are not comfortable on your ability to perform, for someone else, I would not recommend you go raise someone else's money on a JV basis, right? So in the beginning, and I'll give you guys context. In the beginning, I had no money. I had no money because I just graduated grad school. I was broke as shit, right? I only had time. In this bedroom. And so what I basically did is I had to grind my way out. I had to grind my way through it. And I was calling other people's leads. Okay. There's no spend. No one was spending on me. I was just calling other people's leads. They'd already generated. There was no financial funding set up there. And I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And I crushed a ton of deals. I did 20 something deals, my first 4 months doing it. And it was fantastic. And then I realized I needed leverage. I realized I didn't have leverage because I had the money coming in. I was making okay amounts of money. But remember this, guys, when I was a closer for all these other teams, I wasn't, even if it was a $30,000 assignment fee, I wasn't taking much of that, right? They were giving me a small fraction of it. And so what ended up happening is over 4 months of grinding my ass off, I was like, dude, this sucks. I need more leverage. And I want to start the business the right way. And I had money coming in, but I didn't have enough money coming in to really do business the way that I wanted to. So what did I do? I went and raised capital. And I didn't go and apply for business credit. I didn't go and apply for a business loan, a small business loan. I actually went and found someone in my network who basically is like a whale and had shit tons of money to spend. And I went to them and I said, hey, I want you to fund everything that I do. And I'm going to work my guts out to make sure that you guys, at the very least, make your money back, but also get a massive return on it. And so what I did is I had them fund literally everything, from my systems to my marketing, every dime. So I was running a no-cost acquisition business myself. And the cool thing about that is I gave them in the beginning 7 deals, a 70-30 split for the first 5 to 10 deals, because they were taking a massive risk on me, right? So they were getting 70%. I was getting 30% until I could prove myself. And then once we hit 5 or 10 deals, I can't remember how many it was, we switched it to become 50-50. And then we just milked that because we had so much proof of concept. We knew it worked. They trusted me. It got to a point where they stopped auditing me just because they were like, the kid works and he gets shit done. And then after a certain amount of time, I had enough money saved up to go and deploy into the business my own way. Now, moving forward, right? So it's I've done the broke way where it's you grind your ass off. And then I realized I didn't have enough leverage. So what did I do? I went on the JV basis and brought someone else's capital in, right? Now, this is my honest take. If you absolutely believe in your ability to perform, I wouldn't have even done that. Going back, I probably wouldn't have done it the way that I did it. I probably, honestly, Alejandro, I would have done what every other legitimate business owner on earth does. In our industry, people just don't do it because they're allergic or they just don't fucking talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go and apply for a business loan. Go and apply for business credit. I was giving this guy 70%, 50% of all these things, and I was doing all of the work for just because it was their credit card on the file, right? Yeah. When I could have gone and applied there's so many companies out there, guys, that will give you business funding. There's so many companies that will help you, even if you have bad credit. They're like credit stacking companies. I don't have a referral. I don't own one. I don't have an affiliate for one, but there's just a million of them out there. And you can go and apply with them. They'll help you get your credit in line within like a couple of months and get your credit score up. They'll handle all the inquiries, all that kind of good stuff. And then basically what's going to happen in this, in like the course of a couple of months, you'll have like 5 freaking business credit cards that are all attached to your LLCs. And then you have 50, 100, $150,000 of just credit, lines of credit that are available to you to use. And usually at interest rates that, if you do the math, like a 15% interest rate on this aggressive credit card is still going to be better and cheaper than paying someone 50% of your assignment fee, right? And so because I have the conviction in myself to know that like this money is going to be made and it's going to get paid back, I actually don't even want the hassle of doing JVs and having people pump marketing dollars into my company, because then it's like the deals go south because deals the market shifts, right? Things don't work out and the deals get delayed. The problem with a JV basis, in my opinion, is you're bringing a lot of emotional baggage into the mix. And that's something I don't want to deal with, right? But the reality is, bro, like Amex doesn't give a shit. Like they just, as long as like they get their minimum payment in, right? Or it's if it's a charge card, you pay the whole thing. Or if you use like Chase credit card, so you're not having a charge card where you have to pay the whole thing back, you just use like a minimum payment. Like they're fine. They're not going to come after you. They're not going to go and talk shit about you in a Facebook group, which is so common on the JV basis. So I hope that answers that question. Alejandro, anything you want to say on that?
For the funding, right? I was going to say, I'm going to add some context to it.
Mhm.
If you're in the process of building your wholesale company, the only way that me personally, this is just me talking for myself, my past self, the only way I would feel comfortable getting some funding to start my own business, if I have the resources and knowledge of knowing how to get that money back. Now, if you're going to start your wholesale business and you have very minimal, what's the word I'm looking for? Minimal knowledge and lack resources, then I wouldn't go get funding, because you're probably put yourself in a position where you probably can't get that money back. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. So what I would do personally, and honestly, I don't know about you, Sam, but I felt like I started this industry the proper way, which is working for someone else that's been doing it consistently for years, that's been doing 7 figures a year. That person gave me all the knowledge necessary for me to branch out and do my own thing. So when I first started making cold calls, I was highly confident that I'm going to make money today. And that's exactly what happened. I'm like, okay, cool. I learned how to dispo a deal, write up a contract, call sellers, pull a list, sell the deal, et cetera, everything. So once I got it started on the phone, which by the way, I did the funding route, but if I did go back, I will get some funding. But I did it the old school way. I just got on the phone and started doing some cold calling, which is fun. Anyways, it was good times.
Love it. Okay, let's do the next question. Guys, keep dropping your questions in the chat. Like we have a bunch of old questions from Instagram, but I'd rather answer the live questions.
Are you live on Instagram? I forgot to do that.
You can actually go live on Instagram now through StreamYard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. So CDO says, for a solopreneur with a partner aiming for inbound leads only to avoid litigation, technically, on cold outreach, train VAs to submit offers and dispo or hire local in-person employees. This is extremely vague. And so cold outreach is fine. Like cold calling is never going to go away, guys. Like I don't think it is. I think one-to-one prospecting through cold callings, it's not going to go away anytime soon, I should say. Now, like AI-based cold calling is a thing and it's coming out. Like you're going to see every damn guru on earth, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like I even may have one soon. I should probably have one soon. I should start doing more guru shit so I can just make more money instead of just like being so anti-guru all the time. But you guys are going to see this. Like there's going to be AI cold calling companies left and right, and every guru is going to have their own. And the reality is they're all going to get shut down by carriers because there's so many patterns that can be found through AI-based calling. Now, the reality is this. The reality is like actual human cold calling, like one-to-one, one human to another. I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. All that has to happen is you just have to switch your approach. So you can't be marketing to 10, 15, 20,000 records per month, putting them into a 4, 5, 6, 7 line dialer, blasting them all at the same time. Like that's what's triggering the carriers. Is the carriers are looking what all of their systems and filters are looking for is like one specific thing, and that's one to many outreach, right? If your one phone number or one dialing system is trying to contact and prospect to 10 people at a time, that's going to flag the carriers so damn quick. Like it's guaranteed, right? But if your systems are positioned in a way where everything you do is why, like, I'm a huge advocate of single line dial cold calling, is because it literally looks like one person calling one other person, one dial at a time. That's like the best way to go about it. So, and about the whole train via system offers and dispo or hire local in person, that is extremely vague. So I will say this, you have to look at the position that you're hiring for, whether they're in person or virtual. Okay, let's go on to this one.
I was going to say something too as well, Sam. For those who are watching this podcast in the future, if you're starting to think about wholesaling, and you're thinking you're going to make millions of dollars and you're going to stay a millionaire for a very long time, it is very possible. But my past self, I would tell that person, hey, get into wholesaling, use it as the foundation to the other businesses you're going to invest in, such as fix and flipping, buying and holding. Use the extra money to go start other business that's going to be more passive, because wholesaling is an active business, and it's a freaking roller coaster, guys. It doesn't matter how great you are, you're always going to have a roller coaster in that business. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people want something more consistent that you can go home and be like, okay, I'm going to make this much this month. So just putting that out there.
Beautiful. So Tiffany Heise is a dear friend of mine. Love her to death. Said a friend of hers just got hit with a $55K fine for sending 2 SMS texts to a DNC number. So she and some other big people are getting away from outbound completely. Interesting. So I'll say this, guys. I think SMS works, and I think it's fine, and I think it just comes down to your risk tolerance. Anytime I see like a big scare number, like 55K fine, right? Especially for 2 SMS texts, that to me, I don't know what's happening there. I don't have context, but I believe in most states, like you can't even get up to a 55K fine for 2 text messages. Because it's a breach per basis, it's a breach per outreach. Now, unless they're in like a specific, jurisdiction where it's penalized differently, I don't know. But the other big thing is this, Alejandro,
Yes, sir.
Once upon a time ago, I remember this before you and I became like homies. You once upon a time ago got a threat from a professional litigator who was on DNC, and what happened? Like, what was the answer there? Did you get sued through the roof? Did you lose everything?
Nope.
What happened?
There's nothing to lose. It's a wholesale company. Wholesale LLC has nothing. It's nothing to lose. The guy sent me an email, a demand letter. I never responded, never heard back.
Yeah, that's it, guys. That's it. So, Mr. the CEO.
That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago for context.
Yeah, I'll say this, guys. When you're doing outreach and people threaten to sue you, or you hear all these horror stories like 55K fines for 2 texts, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Very often what's ending up happening is the people who are doing the marketing are freaking morons. Like the guys who are, like, you guys are following us. I'm sure you guys have come to Marketing Secrets. If you haven't, don't miss it next time if I ever do it again, because I actually went over this specifically. I spent like 30 minutes telling people how to set up their companies the right way so they don't get sued. Or like not that, because you can't stop yourself from getting sued. You're gonna get sued. Like I can sue anyone here for no damn reason and file a lawsuit. The question is, do you lose, right? Or do you have something to lose? And in general, like the general consensus and the summary of all of it is set up your entities so you have nothing to lose. The LLC that is doing the marketing, that owns the dialer system, that owns the CRM, right, is basically a shell LLC that has 0 assets, right? Your anonymity is protected. You've gotten it set up properly. You went and talked to Prime Corporate Services, who Alejandro and I both use. We both love PCS. They're fantastic. And go get your anonymity set up the right way, and then have a shell LLC that doesn't own anything. They can't come after you personally if your LLC is protected. They can only come after your LLC and the assets it owns. So let's see. Yeah, there's a state DNC fines like 15K per instance, and federal DNC fines that start at 55K per instance. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not going to comment on that. That just doesn't sound right to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But I mean, like, is DNC being cracked down on? Absolutely. But like, you can be charged and fined with a lot of things. But at the end of the day, who is the entity being fined? If it's an entity that like owns nothing, guys, like the reality is this: it's the federal government isn't coming after you. It's a litigator, right? So litigators will only go after people, and they will only go to court with people they know are not protected. And so there's professional litigators, and I don't want to get too far into this, but you guys will find that there's professional litigators. It is their job professionally to wait, and like they'll get on every list possible, right? They want in on all of your lists. They want to show up on every record possible, and they will just wait and have, like, guys, I've seen these guys. They'll have like freaking 4 different phone numbers, like in 4 different cell phones, and they're all tracking every inbound call and every text. They're trying to compile evidence, and usually all they care to do is do a settlement. Like Alejandro, I can almost guarantee you the guy, he just tried to settle with you, right? He tried,
he
it was a demand letter with like a settlement.
Yeah, for $5,000.
Yeah, for $5,000. So anytime I see like, oh, someone got penalized and they got hit with like a 55K fine, that to me almost always sounds like someone who got caught by a professional litigator and had all of their shit set up wrong. And basically like their LLC, quick cash offer, like you can look it up online, see the owner's name, it's them, seeing their personal information's attached to it, their phone number, their house, everything's attached to it. They've got 19 bank accounts that are tied to that LLC. It's like when you do all that, you're basically not protecting yourself against these things from happening. And that's when we see it happen. So like for me, am I terrified of, texting? No, not one bit. We just need to like do our part and be diligent in our setup.
And by the way, that's if you're going to be in business, you should be expecting people to send you demand letters and litigators. It's expected. It's part of the business. It's either be broke and safe or get rich and go through a lot of litigators and a lot of BS. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, and guys, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to be a jerk here when I say this, but the reality is, like, every marketing channel, period, even pay per click, where they fill out your ad, like, there's regulation coming down on that. Like, you can't even run freaking Facebook ads anymore and ask people's addresses anymore. And they're the ones filling out your ad. Your web form can't even ask them their freaking address for the house they're trying to sell. So, like, the reality is, everything is going to get regulated. Everything has already been regulated. All that has to happen is you just need to know how to protect yourself from everything. Is the answer. It's like, oh no, this is, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be completely unbiased and just open here, right? Anytime we see people get up on a platform and they say, hey, like, you can't do this, and here's a 25 horror stories, and they say the answer is like, no, this doesn't work, you can't do it, and that's it, and they say like, go do all these things instead, right? Very often you just have to question why that's the case, and like, is there not a way to get it done right? Is there not a way to do it protectively? The reality is just tons of people making shit tons of money doing texting. Like we do it, like, and it's fine. And it's not just affecting sellers. Like you can have buyers when you're doing dispo. A lot of people think it's like direct to seller, but you have buyers who run the FDNC too. And so when you go and, try to pull a list off of Investor Lift, and you try to text blast them through there or email blast them through there, all these things, like the same issues will come up. Okay, anyways, Simon and Geronimo, marketing LLC is different than wholesale LLC. So yeah, kind of, yes. So the entity that's doing your marketing, and you don't have to listen to this, guys. Like, I know this is like going to cost more money for you guys. The reality is I didn't do this in the beginning. Like, this is like a luxury that I have now, because like for us to go start a new LLC is as simple as like us shooting over like a text to one of our reps at Prime Corporate Services, and just like, yeah, dude, just run it. And we make enough money where it's like, it doesn't hurt us to do it. So we'd rather be safe than sorry. So, but yes, like at scale, like you want to have an LLC that is specifically attached to one CRM, and then attached to one dialer system. And it's a shell LLC. But then like when you go into contract, you're going to have an actual other LLC sign off on that. And that one is also a shell. That one also owns nothing. The whole point is you want to be as segmented as possible. And it's up to you to decide based on your risk tolerance, how segmented do you want to be? So this kind of like goes hand in hand with like people, who wonder when you start buying property, how many houses do you put in an LLC, right, before you create another LLC, right? And there's people who are hyper safe. And Alejandro, this is something that no one ever would answer for us. I remember you and me talking about this like 2 years ago when I started buying properties. And I was like, bro, like I can't fucking find this answer. Like, what do you think? And it was a question of how many properties do you put under an LLC?
Oh,
And
yeah.
and then you remember, I was like, for 3 weeks, I just went on like this hunt and no one would give me the answers. And I found out it's because it's a controversial thing.
Especially when you have freaking different gurus giving you different advice. I'm like, dude, what the F?
Yeah, exactly. So you have some gurus who are like, you only, so guys, like the extreme in safety is you have one property per one LLC per state, right? It's like every time you buy a new house, it's a new LLC. That is 100% like the most compartmentalized, segmented, safe way to do it. 1,000%. It absolutely is. It's just stupid. It doesn't like, it's overly safe in my personal opinion. Now, there's other people who, you know, who are a little bit more, one of our mentors, I'm not going to name them. I know that their general habit is 20 properties per entity. And to me personally, I'm like, that's a little rough, dude. That's playing a little unsafe there. And so
6 figures, sir. That's maybe even 8-9 figures right there.
yeah, exactly. And you know, it's a different problem, right? And again, like this is the key. And I'll hit back on this, why they think 20 per LLC is okay, or up to 20 per LLC is okay. I'm kind of a different mind where I'm like, it actually depends on the equity in the property, right? If I have no equity, like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what happens with one tenant who sues. Like they can't come after a property that has like zero equity, right? They can't, because Wells Fargo has a mortgage. Wells Fargo is in first position, right? So it's like, then it's fine. But like I have a property where we just, it was a hybrid deal where we owed a ton on seller finance. We renegotiated it. We renegotiated the equity on this property that I already own. And the seller walked away from like 75K more of their own equity. I now have $200,000 of equity sitting in one house. Guys, I'm not going to go put other properties in that same LLC. It would just, because there's 200K sitting there, right? That's a lot to lose. So for me, normally, guys, I'd probably put about 5 properties in an LLC. That's where I stand at right now at this time in this moment. But, you know, I'm like, if I have a property that has 200K in equity just sitting in there, I'm probably not going to put like even another property in that LLC because I want to protect that 200K in equity, right? And so, you know, to Alejandro's point, that mentor is a near 9-figure earner. They're worth over 9 figures in net worth. And so for them, with the amount of money and active income that they're making, that like for them, it's worth it to take on that potential risk assessment, because like trying to create more LLCs would just create too much of a logistical drag. It's not even worth it. So
dude, I have like 30 LLCs, bro, and that alone right there is driving me nuts. Filing for the county, city registration, whatever, dude. I'm like, no more, please.
No more, dude. And I feel you, bro. I have LLCs that are sitting there that I created because I was like, I want to be over safe. And I'm like, I want to have LLCs that are specifically there for affiliate income. Guys, like I'm not even pushing affiliates. Like if I'm doing like $1 million a year in affiliates, then it makes sense. But it's interesting. So now I have LLCs that are just sitting there doing nothing. And like now it's time to renew them. And I keep getting the emails from PCS are like, time to renew. Okay, moving on.
You have an affiliate LLC too, bro?
I do.
I have one.
I just got to make use out of it. The problem with me is that I don't really push shit. So I actually make money doing business and not affiliates. So when I start making affiliate money, then it'll start getting used. Okay, let's do this one. I'm gonna go through Instagram. Make sure we don't miss out too many Instagram people here.
Now you should try these little Vic sticks, bro. These are life changers for your nose, like a little nose sticks.
Is it like chapstick? Like it's like
no, dude. You just put it in there, put it in your nose, and it's like mint fresh air. It's like let me get out of this congested air for like 2 seconds, really quick, and you get a peace of mind.
Ooh, okay, dude. I have this great question from Jeff Smith, who is a friend and beast sales trainer. He says, and guys, Jeff Smith is a freaking beast of an operator. Love that guy. I'm probably going to see him next week in Houston, actually. What have you found are the common elements to starting these successful businesses? Ooh, Alejandro, when you are starting a new business or looking at starting a new business, right? And I know you have a new amazing business venture coming up, and I'm excited about it. When you look at new business ventures, there's a lot of components to business, right? There's a lot of different departments, a lot of different factors. What core components do you think are critical to starting a successful business?
SOPs for sure. SOPs, and I learned that from you, Sam, and why it's important. Because Sam is richer than me, guys. So he would get into higher rooms a lot sooner than I am. So I'm like, when I see Sam on Instagram, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna text him later. Hey Sam, how'd it go over there, man? Anything new? Okay. SOPs? Okay, got it. Okay, got it. That's your biggest takeaway. I'm gonna get the SOPs. So having this SOPs and systems in place, pretty much like having a layout where if you start it, you can literally hire the people for it tomorrow and you can just go away and it'll still run. That's how pristine you need to have your SOPs in place and your system, the proper tools, the proper SOPs, hire the right people, and you can just walk away literally tomorrow. To me, that is the most critical thing. And thanks to Sam, I've implemented that in everything I started. SOPs,
Dude.
Standard operating procedures.
Yeah. So Victor, what that basically means is simply this. In any task, in any process, like anything that you do in the business, like comping a property is a process, right? Uploading a lead into a CRM is a process, right? An SOP, a standard operating procedure, is a documented form in your business, not for how you do it, but for how someone else in your business should do it. It should be neutral. It should be nameless. It should be faceless. And the whole ideology is that every single task in your business has like a relevant corresponding document, whether it's explicitly written or it's a video through Loom where you're recording yourself talking through it. It doesn't really matter. It's basically a step-by-step guide. Loom's amazing. Yep. So 100%. So I want to go a little bit further than that. I want to break all businesses down into about the 5 core components that they all have. So all businesses at scale, guys, all businesses are the exact same. They're all the exact same. I don't give a shit what anyone says. They're all the same. They're all the same. Like real estate wholesale, selling digital products, selling roofs, selling cars, OnlyFans. All of it's the exact same, guys. They're all the same. They all have the same 5 core components, and it depends at scale on how many of them you need to focus on. So marketing, sales, HR/legal, finance, and fulfillment. Okay, they all businesses have the same core 5 components. And I think in the beginning, Jeff Smith's question is, which core components, like what core components or elements do you think are required to start a successful business? In the beginning, it's only ever going to be 3 things that matter. The 3 things that matter: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. Like if you want to, out of those 5 things, you can't focus on all of them because it's too early. You need to focus on, do I have marketing to generate leads? Do I know how to close the leads, aka sales? And then how are we going to fulfill and operate the business on the back end to make sure people actually get what they're paying for? So it's like, if you can crack down on those 3 things, HR/legal and finance, those 2 major components can come later at scale. Like you don't need to worry about finances if you're like, honestly, it's like, depends on your business model too, right? If you are running a grocery store and you have inventory that's produce that's, perishable, and then you've got, tobacco coming in and alcohol coming in, you have licensing for that, and you're paying different fees for all these things, and then you're trying to resell all this stuff to your average, homeowner or average person on the street, you have like a financial mess on your hands. But if you are a digital course creator, or if you sell digital products, or if you're like a girl on OnlyFans who's crushing it, the reality is they only create one thing and they only sell one thing, and it's all streamlined in finances. So you don't need a finances department just quite yet in a business model like that. So like that whole finance department really just depends on how scaled is your business and how complicated is your deliverable for you to source and for you to deliver on for your clients. And then the other part, HR/legal, guys, HR legal, like literally only comes into play when you start hiring people. And when you start hiring a lot of people, like when you have like 2 to 5 employees, like you don't need an HR team. You don't need a legal department. You don't. But when you have 20 plus people who are on payroll, then 100%. So in the beginning, like those 2 common core elements, 3 core elements: marketing, sales, fulfillment, 100%. Like those, if I start a new business tomorrow, guys, I'm not thinking about HR. I'm not thinking about legal. I'm not thinking about paperwork. and I'm definitely not thinking about finances. I'm literally just thinking about, can I generate leads? Can I sell them? And can I deliver the product and make a profit on it? That's like all I care about. Mhm. Oh, great, great. This is phenomenal. So anytime I get a new question come up from someone on our team, I add an SOP so I can direct them to the SOP instead of me having to reiterate. 100%, guys.
Yep.
The whole point of an SOP is anytime something comes up, anytime a question is asked, you don't just answer it for the person right then and there. Ideally, in a perfect world, if you're in an office setting, you actually get onto Loom first or record yourself on audio or something, or type it out while you're doing it, because some people like to read instead. What you do is you answer it, but you make sure your answer is recorded. And then what you do is you archive that in your SOP library that's searchable and like functional. So that way, forever, if that same problem comes up, they should never have to reach out to you. And you've effectively removed yourself from being a question answerer in the business. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, is they'll be in this business, especially in a wholesale business. They'll hire acquisition guys and like they don't have any of these things down. So it's like they're not a closer, right? Alejandro, you've seen this so many times. We see so many people go through this. They're not a closer in their business, right? They don't do the dispo, they don't do the TC, they don't do any of this stuff, right? They do all these, but they're not the CEO. They're not out of the business. Why?
Yeah.
Because any question comes up, they have to come back in and answer it. And so, yeah, don't be a question answerer in your business.
Yep. So what? Simon has a question here, Sam. He says, "What website to save SOPs?"
Ooh, phenomenal question. Alejandro.
By the way, just to tag into what you were saying, where people that have their own business, they're still closing deals or they're still doing dispo. You have to be really good at this. I'm really good at this. Other business partners that I've had in the past is like, bro, you're still an employee. Just because you're the owner doesn't mean you can sleep in. You still are an employee, which means if you are a closer in your company and you're the owner, you have to act as two different people. If you're the closer, then be on time, make all the necessary calls. There's no, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a break because I'm the owner. No, it doesn't work like that. If that's the case, then you're the worst employee, which of course that's the saying where the owner is the worst employee of the company. But I'm really good at that. Like I have like a sales director. I'm like, hey, what do you need me to do? Because I am acting as a closer today. So I am, under the chain of command, you are the person I have to report to. So what do I do today? There's no ego, there's no problem. You just got to do it. You have to be really good at it. So I just wanted to tag in onto that because a lot of people do get confused with that, Sam. And I'm sure you've seen it before. I'm like, hey, bro, what are you doing at this event? Aren't you supposed to be closing deals?
Yeah, it's funny, man. 100%. When you're wearing multiple hats in the business, you have to make sure that you are living in that. 100%. So, okay, Simon's question: what website to save SOPs? Alejandro, where do you like to store your SOPs in your business?
I save it all on the drive, man. They are really cool websites that automate stuff and make it really nice and cool. But honestly, I save it all on a Google Drive, and it's all on a document. So it's like a workbook, acquisition workbook. You open it, and then you have all the documents, how to do this, how to do this. And then my FAQs, I have it in my CRM, which is Podio. You people, anytime people have a question, they have to submit it. That's one of the rules. If you have a question, which in fact I need to enforce more, anytime you have a question, you have to submit it first. And then if you don't find it there, you come back and ask the office, and we'll answer for you. Yep. What about you, Sam?
So it's so funny. What website to save SOPs? Don't overcomplicate it, guys. I actually asked Layla Hermosi this, and Layla Hermosi, CEO of acquisition.com, their portfolio, we talked about them. They're doing 200 million, 204 million a year right now at the pace that they're at. Her go-to for her SOPs is Google Docs. Like that's it. Google Docs, 100%. Yep. So just make sure that when you do your SOPs, you have them archivable and searchable. That's what matters. Like they have to be archived and structured in a way where and stored and organized. I should say organized in a way where people can easily find them when they need them, and that's critical. Now, are there fancy softwares that cost a shit ton of money that like make SOPs super easy to create and store? 100%. The best one is probably Trainual, but Trainual is expensive. It costs like hundreds of dollars per month.
Yeah, I
It's like
bounced, bro.
$300 a month.
I bounced. Like they gave me the free trial, and then I saw that cost came out the bank account. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm out of here. I'm good.
Yeah, so Trainual's, and one of our good friends, Jonah Corchin, he has his entire business in Trainual, and that's fine. I don't really see the need for it. And then you can customize tools, guys. So like you can customize tools. There's a ton of productivity tools that you can use to customize SOPs that are fractional in cost too.
Mhm.
Okay, let's do this. Ooh, Joel, dude, it's been a while since we've seen Joel on the podcast. What's going on, dude? Okay, so Joel asks, so as someone doing connections and has tons of buyers, what's the best strategy there? I got buyers, but struggling to find good deals. So Joel's got a problem. He's playing a connector role. Because he's in all these communities, Joel has all these buyers. The problem is he doesn't have good deals. Okay. So Alejandro, like how does he fix that problem?
Oh, dude, the easiest way. This is the best way to do it, Joel. If you have buyers, if you have a buyers list, first and foremost, you have to understand how they buy. So for me, if I have a buyer that wants, hey, I buy any houses in this zip code at this much of ARV, or as long as I make X amount of profits, I don't care. They have buyers like that, like, hey, I need to make 20% of ARV on all my properties, or I need to make a minimum of $20,000 profits on all my properties. So you have to be really specific on how they buy their deals, and have an Excel sheet, Joel, where whenever you do find a deal for your buy, just plug it in and you can just send that over to him, because whenever you have those sheets available, it makes the decision for the buyer a lot easier and a lot smoother for you, because especially if you're going to JV with other people, time is of the essence here, because the deal is not under your control, which means they can literally find a buyer 10 minutes afterwards. So you want to be able to quickly sell that deal to your buyer. But to find those leads is quite simple, very simple. Go to the people, the wholesalers that are actually doing real business, and reach out to them, build a relationship, and tell them you have buyers. That's it. But if you reach out to someone that's here and there, inconsistent, then you will always have an inconsistent money flow, which is freaking sucks nowadays, bro. Freaking banana costs like $3 now, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's crazy. So what you have to do, Joel, reach the people that do. You can reach out to me. I still do wholesale. So if you have a buyers list, I am more than happy to JV with you any single time. I'm more about moving the deal as fast as possible. We've had situations where we had a buyer that we can make 30 grand, we find it by ourselves, or we can JV and make 15 grand. But the JV found the buyer first, and we just JV with the guy. It is what it is. Not everyone's going to do that. So I'm pretty sure people much rather have $15,000 extra instead of splitting it. But we much rather move these deals as fast as possible. So reach out to wholesalers that are doing business already consistently. So that way you already have a consistent deal flow that you can cherry pick from and show your buyers.
So I'm gonna hit on this just a little bit, Joel. I want you to understand I'm gonna be very direct here. You want to be very honest with yourself about what it is you bring to the marketplace. The reality is this: you're asking about how do you get consistent good deal flow. The problem is this: consistent good deal flow comes from what? Consistent good wholesalers who run acquisitions and they got their shit together. The problem with those guys, Joel, is that you have to understand they want if they want to like offload dispositions, they're not going to do it to someone very often who like the only thing you bring to the table in your resources, and I don't know what you're bringing to the table with resources, but if you're only bringing to the table that you're in communities and you're in honestly the same communities that they're all in, you don't really bring a ton of value to the plate other than just marketing the deal and just having buyer negotiations. And don't get me wrong, like there's absolutely a value in that. But if you want to, like, you have to ask yourself, like, based on all the resources that you bring to the table for the transaction right now, right? What level of strategic partner have you earned? Do you warrant working with, right? So if you're if you're at this point, this is what you're going to attract. If you were at a point where you are only in some mentorships or some masterminds, some communities, right? And the wholesalers you meet are in the same places, right? And your buyers are coming from the same places, you provide very little value to the marketplace, truly. because you could be replaced by a handful of Facebook posts very often. That's the reality with a lot of people who get into the connecting game and then try to do dispo and try to get easy dispo. The problem is you bring very little value to the marketplace, and you won't attract good wholesale companies because they know they could just hire a $4 an hour VA, give them the SOPs and how to post on Facebook, and then find the buyers themselves and not have to JV. Now, if you want to attract like the best guys who are crushing in acquisitions and crushing in deal flow, right? The problem with them is they don't want to work with someone who has buyers. They want to work with a disposition specialist or a dispo shop. So like for us, Sasha's in the chat. Sasha is my dispositions director. She runs all of our dispositions like through and through. And I mean, like just the other week, we had like 40 plus deals in escrow. It's like freaking insane numbers. And like our problem is that every time I go and market and say, hey, we're taking on more deal flow, the problem is I get too many deals that are sent to us and too many, honestly, good deals that are sent to us. And so we're having to rapidly hire and build SOPs. Like I just hired an executive assistant for Sasha. So I've even hired an executive assistant for myself. I hired one for her. But what do we bring to the table to warrant that good deal flow? We have every resource possible. We have the highest tier on Investor Lift. That's not cheap. It costs a shit ton of money. I don't know if they raised prices, but last I checked, it was 50 grand a year. It's insanely expensive. Then we've got like dialed in SOPs. And on top of that, I'm in every mentorship on earth that's really expensive. So the really high level ones too. So we have all of their SOPs. We've got all of their buyers. Then we understand MLS and we understand all of these other things that we bring to the table. And then it's a completely hands-off like process for our acquisition guys. So our acquisition, like we don't really like to do one-off wholesale, one-off JVs on Dispo because there's no value in it for us outside of one paycheck. So we're at a point because we've brought so much resources to the table, we have earned and we attract the best talent, the best acquisition guys. So Joel, if you want to get better deal flow, right, you need to ask yourself, what am I bringing to the table to warrant that and earn that deal flow? Because the guys who have it, like they're there. They're like Sasha and I work with these wholesalers who are crushing it and they want like I will pour into them and Sasha will pour in. Sasha does it way more than I do. She pours into these people to show them how to scale their business and scale their acquisitions, right? Because she has a vested interest in doing so. And we actually help them become better. And then but the social contract of that is what? If they become better, if they start doing 10 deals a month, we have to be able to handle getting them the highest and best assignment fee on those 10 deals a month too. So it really is a give and take. It's a law of reciprocity. So if you want to attract better deals, you need to become better at dispositions. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that one. Dude, Justin Coble, dude, good to see you. Justin's a friend. Appreciate you, dude. Oh, there you go. Dude, congrats, man. Okay, so Simon asked favorite mailing company. I know on Marketing Secrets you said you were testing one out. Most of these mailing companies are agencies disguised as mail companies. Welcome to the truth, Simon. And Geronimo. I don't know if it's Simon or Geronimo. It might be both of you guys. Welcome to the truth, guys. I'm going to be honest here. So we're still testing them. That company that I talked about in Marketing Secrets, we're still testing them. I just haven't been able to give them enough volume because I do like very niche targeting. So I don't get to pump out a ton of volume. Like if I was sending out 50,000 mail pieces a month, it'd be easy to get my KPIs back and like be able to make a judgment call on it. But because I only do very niche targeting, I don't have a ton of volume going out every single week or every single month. So it's still a little too early to say, but it's been amazing so far. And they're a legitimate mail company. And so, Simon, what you're hitting on is a reality that I basically can't speak about publicly too much because every time I go and do something like Marketing Secrets and I expose these companies, guys, just so you guys know, Alejandro, I think I told you this, but I haven't mentioned this publicly because we're on the topic. You were at Marketing Secrets and you know that on Marketing Secrets, I showed all of the scams in the industry behind certain business models. And I never specifically named any companies. Guys, yeah. I literally that day got threatened by one CEO from a really crappy company. And I never targeted them. But that CEO got threatened by me just basically exposing the raw truth. And then there was another during that scam session where I basically exposed like a business model, never mentioned the company. Never, because there's multiple companies that do it. That CEO basically got my number somehow, and then just proceeded to cuss me out and threaten me with lawsuits for that, which is hilarious. Nothing to stand on. It's totally fine. Yeah.
Can I also say something for those who are looking to get into the entrepreneurship? Hey, man, work on controlling your emotions, please. Sam, when you told me that, man, I got the chills just listening. I'm like, dude, this is a grown man and sliding into your DMs with threats.
Oh yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
learn how to control your emotions. I've been meditating for years now, and I've been threatened so many times, and every single time I am the same composure. I'm still got it. Okay. And if I fucked up on something, I'm going to fix it. We control your emotions. Stop blaming people for your shit, man. Stop getting all emotional, posting drama, posting about other people. Just handle it. Jesus Christ. Like, that's all I can ask for, bro. I'm so tired of seeing that. Like, all last year,
It's
drama.
insane.
Dude, it's insane. Just
Yeah, just so you guys know, the once you step up and you level up your brand and you hang around with influencers, just most CEOs, not most, but a lot of the CEOs of like a lot of these service-based companies and influencers, like they are completely emotional children. Like they honestly are. So
Oh my
like Simon, like I wanted to talk about this for a while. I'm going to speak about it to a degree. Most of these mailing companies are agencies disguised as mail companies. You are absolutely right. This is one of those reasons why, bro, like you've seen me talk about this enough times where you've seen that I do not give out mailing company recommendations. The reason is because in the real estate specific space, most of these guys are basically just wholesalers or they're vendors playing middleman. And there's a tremendous lack of transparency and a bunch of other things, and also some scams in the back end. So I can't roll that out yet because I am still testing it. And before I ever put my name on something, like I'm very hesitant to do that. Like I am guys, like we get so many, Alejandro and I get so many requests to like affiliate and to use like, and to have like, we've gotten offers from people to like sponsor the podcast just so we can have their freaking name badge on it. And it's like, we don't do it because there's so many issues with things like that. So the answer is this. Unfortunately, until I roll it out myself, my answer to you is you have to test all these things out yourself and just come to a decision or come to a conclusion that works for you. Alejandro, we are over time, bro.
Heck yeah. Been a great episode too, man.
Absolutely. Joel, dude, go crush it. Just stay focused and always say, and this is my answer. This is the no bitch boy answer. Anytime you are doing a marketing channel or anything or a business model and it is not panning out the way that you want it to, okay, the question or the answer is never that the business model doesn't work. It's not the case. Like if the business model didn't work, it wouldn't exist and you wouldn't have found out about it. You found out about it because someone's crushing with it and they're making a lot of money doing it. The reality is what? The reality is, and the approach, in my opinion, I think Alejandro feels the same way. The approach you need to have as a business owner, as a CEO, is what am I bringing to the table to be competitive in this business model, given the ecosystem, right? So if you want to crush Dispo, right? I love that for you. We do tons of Dispo, right? But here's the thing. Why are we crushing Dispo? Why do we have so many amazing teams that want to work with us and are constantly throwing their deals at us? And they want it, and it's exclusive. They will not post their deals anywhere else. They will just get a contract and then send it to our team and then never think about it again. The reason why is because we've spent Sasha and I've spent like 6 months minimum, probably even more than that, just working on perfecting dispositions at an extremely high level. So we bring that to the table. So I would say this, man, forget the buyers, because most of the buyers, I'm sorry, Alejandro, the reality, I think you would agree with this. Most buyers in most of the communities that we're in are not really high transacting buyers.
No. Well, most of the time is the mentor that's the actual.
Yeah. Just so you know, Joel, if you didn't realize this, you will realize this. Most of the communities that we're in, that collectively we're in here, most of those people who say they're buyers are not legitimate buyers, and they will buy one deal every year. Honest to God. I know it because we have the data to prove it. Like real buyers are not in Facebook groups. Real buyers are busy as shit, and it is hard to find them. And that is a challenge I'm issuing to you to go figure that out and to go find them. Because once you start finding them, things will unlock in the business at a high level. Okay. Guys, last one, because I get this question a lot. And it's funny, I pissed off an influencer, a big influencer in this industry, an industry leader, some would say. and this person got really pissed off about me saying this, and they made a reel about it. It was funny. Okay, so looking to start using paid ads and lead generation strategies, what would you recommend as a good approach to begin with? Should I focus on platforms like LeadZolo, ISP to Lead, or Google PPC? So critical differentiation for anyone that doesn't know: LeadZolo, iSpeed to Lead, these are what are known as PPL platforms, pay per lead. So the whole thing is they run the ads, they run the Google ads, they run the Facebook ads. I don't know if they're doing TikTok and all these other things, but they run these ads, they generate the leads, and they sell the leads as one-offs to you. So you can basically get the lead without running the actual campaign itself. Now, and it's going to cost more per lead. That's how they make their money. Now, or do you go do Google PPC yourself? I said this on Marketing Secrets. I stand by this. No one can come after me for this. People try, but the reality is this: anytime you use an agency, right, there is a risk to reward of that. The reward is potentially they crush it, they're amazing, their price points are great, and they do a good job, and you make money. The risk of that in the PPL space is that they could be running a complete goddamn scam. And in Marketing Secrets, I broke down a lot of the scams. And guys, like, I know these things because some of these companies have come to me, right? I'm not talking about anyone specifically on this screen, but I'm talking about like other ones. They've actually come to me and they have pitched open scams to me because they want me to be an affiliate. They've literally come to me and asked me to partake in scams so that we can make money together, because I have following and my following trusts me, because I have goodwill, because like we do masterclass, we do all these things. So the answer is, in my opinion, are there good PPL companies? 100% there are. But are there also equally, if not more, bad players in the game? Yeah. Sorry, it's true. How do you cure that? Go pay down your ignorance debt, learn how to run Google PPC and Facebook ads in-house yourself. It's going to take you a little bit of time, but the beauty is this: you're going to bring it in-house. You're not going to have to spend service fee money. You're not going to spend $2-3 grand per month on a service fee. You don't have to run the risk of a lack of transparency and potentially getting scammed. And the beauty of learning it in-house and just learning how to DIY is what? Any business you have moving forward in life, you'll be able to run your own ads on and crush. So for me, I'm an advocate of learning it in-house. And I talked about that on Marketing Secrets. Okay, that's the last one, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble and probably get threatened by like a CEO of some shitty company, like probably by midnight tonight. Alejandro, lead us off, bro.
Hey, do you mind if I do a shameless plug here for tomorrow?
Bro, I'd be pissed off if you didn't.
Okay, perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, for the first time ever, I am going to be doing a workshop. I was inspired by my good friend Sam Singh. This man has inspired me to do a lot of big things, and I would love and appreciate you guys' support, because it's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to learn, especially if you're starting out. I'm going to be going over marketing, sales, disposition, transactions, all the good stuff that you need necessary for your wholesale. And I'm going to leave the link in the comment. I'm going to share it, and it's going to be here in a couple of minutes. But it's tomorrow, May 15th, 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Just sign up. Even if you show up for like 2 seconds, just come say hi. And I would love to see you guys there. It's going to be really dope. It's going to be for twice a week, 2 hours for 2 weeks. So it's going to be an ongoing thing. So if you can't make it to the first one, make it to the second one, so that way you can still get the recording from the previous one. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, if you gained value from today, please share it with your friends. I've seen actually saying we're starting to get more people to tag us on Instagram stories now. And I'm really excited about that. Mac was the one that started that trend. So shout out to Mac. I just spoke to him today. Mac, you have a deal in Killeen. So if anyone looking for a sub-2 deal in Killeen, Mac has a deal. Let me see if I can find his Instagram. Do you have his Instagram, Sam?
Yeah, it's Mac and then like an abbreviated version of his last name.
Sorry, guys, I'm not prepared for that. But yeah, if you know Mac, hit him up on Instagram. But other than that, tomorrow, May 15th, it's going to be the Zero to Freedom workshop. Sam, thank you so much for helping me with that, brother. And yeah, if you gain value from today's podcast, tag us on Instagram at It's Really Alvarez and at Arch Sam Singh. And
Alejandro, real quick, with that, how much does that cost, the workshop?
Oh, great question. That's a great question. It's free. It's free. Thousands
So
of hours,
for
thousands of
free,
Yep.
you're like they're going to be able to like go live with you, not like on a recording. It's not on YouTube. It's like privately live with you, and you're going to show them basically every component of the business.
Yep.
And it's
The
completely
whole
for free.
blueprint. I'm giving it away for free. The whole blueprint.
Okay.
These-
Is this going to be something you're going to do in the future again?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My friend Sam told me to start doing that at least twice a month. Not twice a month, sorry, but every 2 months.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. Because I just got this amazing idea. Can I do a giveaway attached to that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Absolutely.
beautiful. So not on this one, because what I want us to do is I want us to figure out for next time, the next time you do it. Okay, we're gonna I want to gamify things because gamifying things is fun. But for anyone who wants to be entered in it, I will personally give away. Let's just say something small. I will personally give away $500. Okay, to one person who shows up to this round.
Ooh.
Okay, so you have to sign up like tonight. Okay, you have to sign up tonight and get into the workshop this month. Okay, and out of everyone who shows up this month, the next time it happens when we gamify things, there'll be like a specific set of challenges. I will personally pay $500 to the winner just to be a part of it. Is that cool? Is that cool with you?
Hell yeah, bro.
Beautiful. All right, dude, that's it. End it out.
Thank you. See you guys next time.